Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
You're asking me questions, Harry, and I hear you. A scientist cannot afford the indulgence of guilt. And after all, if God doesn't want me to continue, the means of my disposal are always at his command.
This is episode 243, recorded June 8th, 2025.
Gruesome Magazine.
My name is Jeff Mohr, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-hosts and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. With me this week is the return of our fearless leader, Doc Rotten. How you doing, Doc?
Good. How are you?
Yeah.
Been a while. I'm glad to be back.
Oh, it's great to have you back, and thanks so much for getting us so that we can do this one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it's not really streaming anywhere.
No.
So
it's
hard to find.
Patreons bought us the Blu-rays. Thank you, Patreon.
Yay, Patreons.
I already had one. I don't know how that happened. I think somebody else had one.
There's a shocker.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Come on.
Anyway, I'm cool with that. All right, there's other people here. Also with me is
Not for long.
This is so weird. Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, all around nice guy, and published writer. Yeah,
Why, thank you.
Whoa!
We got in stereo.
Where's
Yeah.
Mine's
I even got
upstairs.
Bill to sign mine at North Carolina.
Ooh, very
Chad,
cool.
go away. Yeah.
It does say that, yeah.
I was going to say, what was the inscription?
I almost took it personal. God.
Wow.
Almost.
You guys are always meat behind our backs.
Randy,
All right.
I know he loves me deep down. I can fix him.
You doing good, Bill? You doing good, Bill?
I'm doing well. Chad
Excellent.
and I were at Con Carolinas. We had a great time. At least I had a great time.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, it was fun. It was always good to see one of us in the flesh.
Yeah.
Also with us
Not
is
too much, though.
Chad Hunt, comic book artist and co-host of Decades of Horror, the All of Them. How you doing, Chad?
I am awesome. And it was cool seeing Bill at Con Carolinas. And got to be on some excellent panels with some very cool people. Made some new friends and saw some old friends that I haven't seen in a while. It was amazing. So, yeah, it put me in a good mood for the next few months.
I like that optimism.
Yeah.
I'm 10.
Also joining the 70s Grue Crew from Classic Era
Yay.
is Daphne, who's awesome.
Yay.
Stupendous and like How you doing, Daphne?
Hi, guys. I am doing great. I am so excited to be on the 70s with you guys and talk to you about this very, very special movie. Special.
It is a special movie. So
glad to see you.
we partner with PlayNow
I can
Media.
see all the taglines now already.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There might be a couple of those.
Oh no.
So Gruesome Magazine, Decades of Horror, partner with PlayNow Media on some of their streaming channels. And in fact, Decades of Horror of the 1970s is on the Classic Horror Movie channel and the Wicked Horror TV channel. So you could check us out there. And we have a promo code for you. The promo code is DOH70. DOH, all caps, 70. And for that, you get 20% off your first payment. So if you sign up for the monthly fee, which is $6.99 a month, you'll get $1.40 off your first month. If you signed up for the annual rate, it's $50 for a year, and you'll get 20% off that, which is $10. It's only $40. 2 sawbucks. Is that a sawbuck? Is that 20? Or is that a 10? No.
5. Bless you.
Okay, now I'm going to look it up. I don't think it's a 5.
Thank you.
Maybe he was just waving. I don't know if that was like counting.
It's
$10. A sawbuck
$10?
is $10. Yeah.
A
Well,
fin is 5 is a fin, right?
4 sawbucks. Okay. 2 sawbucks. 3. I don't know. $40. Hey,
Just call it what the hell.
they got
it
a lot
is.
of good movies. And I get lost on there looking at stuff. So go check them out. I noticed some movies that were coming in that I was excited about. So we'll have to check those out. A lot of the movies we do are on their streaming channels. Not this one because it's not.
Yeah, this is a weird one. It's
hard to find.
It shows up every once in a while on the on the live channel, the Universal Live channel that's on Prime Video, but you can't ever tell when it's coming on, so you just have to like stumble upon it.
Yeah. We have been looking since I've been on 70s. I have looked for it periodically and never found it because I always wanted to do it. So, but we're here and we're doing it. We are a spoiler podcast. So this 1973 movie, which was released 52 years ago, if you haven't seen it, you need to run out to Scream Factory and buy it.
Yes.
Or find a friend that owns it and watch it before we ruin the heck out of it.
We're gonna give away the ending. You're not gonna believe us, but we're gonna give it away.
Yeah, once we start talking about these movies, we can't shut up. So
he says.
Got a mouse in your pocket?
Nope. All right. Our movie today is scrolling. And I kept finding interviews with people of this, and they would introduce a person as the star of Battlestar Galactica, the A-Team, and I kept like going in my mind. I'm going, what's the other one? What's the other one? And what? Anyway, and it's 7 S's. That's the proper spelling is 7 S's.
I like how Heather Menzies couldn't say it, so she just says, "I'm going to call it the Snake Movie."
Snake Movie.
Directed by Bernard L. Kowalski, written by Hal Dresner, from a story by Dan Strapek. The cast includes Strother Martin, Dirk Benedict, Heather Menzies-Urich, Richard B. Shull, Tim O'Connor, Jack Ging, Reb Brown, and Noble Craig. The production companies are Universal Pictures, and it's a Zanuck Brown production.
That's how you know it's good.
Filming dates, November 13th through early December 1972 is the best I could find. It was released on July 18th, 1973. The budget is estimated to be $1.3 million. And the domestic box office Ultimate Movie Ranking said $3 million. Variety magazine had an article that said it made $1 million in rentals. I think it about broke even. That seems, those two numbers don't really match. I don't think. I think they get more than 1/3 of the box office for rentals, but I'm not sure. Synopsis: a college student becomes a lab assistant to a scientist who is working on a serum that can transform humans into snakes. And why does he want to do that?
Who knows?
So they can inherit the earth.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Evolution.
They were going to do it. They would have done it already.
Yeah, that's right.
This picture is
No, they haven't.
one of the stupidest things that happens in this movie.
Yeah.
And considering the effects on here, it just amazes me that they would do something this lame and cheap. So,
it's definitely post, right, Bill?
it's definitely post, but even post, you should have been able to do something better than that. They not only did that, they put these in, these leaves in over in this shot. It's Dirk Benedict's butt, but in other shots, I think it's Heather Menzies-Urich's breast or butt or whatever. But the worst part about it is, first off, so they're out of focus. Okay, they're in the foreground, they're out of focus, but they're not really the right color as the rest of the greenery around. And as the picture moves, those stay in the same place on the screen.
Yeah, well.
It doesn't make any sense at all. It's just ridiculous. There's another one where they're frolicking in the bedroom and there's like a black
There's just a bar.
thing, like a chair back or something.
I was just waiting for Austin Powers to show up holding a couple of melons or something.
It is
it certainly is an Austin Powers moment. You kind of have to appreciate that now, though.
Well, it makes it adds to the
campiness.
Yes, yeah,
and the charm.
The charm. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, the charm.
All right. Well, I'm going to label this Doc's pick.
Oh yeah, yes.
True. It is Doc's pick. So
8 months ago.
When did you first see this? Well, it was probably about, what is this, June? It was probably about 4 months ago. But maybe 5.
Okay. When did I first see this? I saw it like movie of the week.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. And it was incredibly awesome for my young preteen self, and enjoyed all the shenanigans, and was really creeped out by the half man, half snake. And I think this is where I learned who Strother Martin actually was.
Oh, wow.
And then I figured out a whole lot of other things he was in. So yeah, it really stuck with me. Even though I had a hard time seeing it after that. I might have rented it maybe once, but it really does. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I rented it once because I knew I had seen it post Captain America movies from the 70s, so I knew who Red Brown was, and also after Battlestar Galactica. So I know I had seen it somewhere after the 80s, so I must have rented it. But this movie just has all the right ingredients, has the right actors and everything, and a lot of times it has the right special effects. But it is a bit preposterous, to say the least. But I kind of love it for that. I kind of love it. It is a monster movie, and we have a mad scientist, an incredibly smart mad scientist, and it has a little romance, and it has some not high school but college shenanigans going on with Red Brown being quite the bully, potential rapist. and a lot of snakes, and a lot of real snakes too. So yeah, I loved it. Still do. Yeah, this is a great movie, and it holds up well, except for some of the special effects right then. kind of low, but at the time it was like, it kind of got to me.
Yeah. Excellent. Glad that you made this possible, Doctor. Daphne, I'm excited to hear what Daphne thinks, because I'm pretty sure she hadn't seen this before. All right.
What?
Yeah.
She's been texting us all weekend with words with 6 S's.
Or I add 6 or 7 S's.
Right.
Yes, of course.
No, I hadn't seen it, but I've definitely heard of it, and I love it. I think it's so wonderfully 70s, and it just makes me happy watching it. Although I didn't like when he killed the snake. That was terrible. That made me so mad.
Which one?
When the bully, when Steve
Harry.
Such Harry. Yeah, Harry.
Yeah, you got to like Harry.
I know. It's terrible. But it was so much fun. Yeah, it was so much fun. I loved that there was a mad scientist whose, devotion has made him blind to what he's doing. Is he
morals.
He thinks he's doing good, even though he's doing all these horrible things. And I, not knowing the story, the very beginning, because you don't know the character yet, so I'm like, is this the guy? He's normally, you're supposed to like him, this actor, and he's just so I don't know, lovable, I guess, or charming, and he's up to something, just because selling something to a freak show, so that kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. I didn't know totally what to expect. And yeah, I thought it was so much fun. I'm so thankful that you got the disc for me, and I look forward to seeing it again.
Yes.
Yippee-ki-yay. Chad, had you seen this before?
Yeah, saw it when it came on TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I remember being scared of it. I mean, I thought it was. I liked it even back then. I loved it. Anytime you got a guy turning into some kind of creature, I'm all about it. And watching it now, I have a better appreciation of it. I haven't seen it since that night it came on. It's been that
difficult, yeah.
That hard to see, that hard to catch. So seeing it this time, I have a even better appreciation of it. I love Strother Martin in this. He's sort of I don't know. He has a good heart, I believe, but he also has that mad scientist heart that doesn't give a crap, you know. And so as a kid, that didn't really make a lot of sense to me because I thought he was a really good guy, and I kept thinking maybe he got into some of the snake venom and now he's evil or something like that. But I was only like 8 or something, or 7 or 8 when I first saw it. But great. I love the cheesy transformation at the end. I love the makeup was really good. I was also a big fan of the other green guy on TV. Well, he wasn't at that time, but the Incredible Hulk. But watching it this time reminded me of the Hulk a little bit when they showed his hands green and that kind of stuff. So I totally love this movie. Heather Menzies is great. Dirk Benedict. He's playing a totally opposite character as he did on Battlestar Galactica. He played the rogue type guy, like the Han Solo type guy, and this one he just playing an innocent little school kid that's got in over his head with a mad scientist. So, but I love the story between him and Heather Menzies. The stuff going on in the background, just Strother Martin reading that passage from that book was great. I love this movie.
Walt Whitman, once again.
Yeah. I love this movie, and I was really, 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 really grateful to have a chance to see it again. So thanks, Doc. That was awesome.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thanks, Jeff. And Bill Mulligan.
So I love this movie. It doesn't scare me at all, but I think that's probably because I am not even remotely scared of snakes. I was the kid in my neighborhood. They would call up my mom, and grown-ass people were calling up my mom asking if she could send her 10-year-old son over to their house to get a snake out of the basement. And yeah, I would go do that because to them, every snake was poisonous and I was some kind of hero. And it was like a harmless little black snake. I didn't have the heart to tell them it's there because they probably have rats in their house. Whatever. Saved them from a trip to the shovel. So I love snakes. And I saw this movie on The Late Show, probably the same one Doc saw it at. I love the actors. I love the makeup. I love everything about it. But it is without question. I'm doing a panel at a convention called Congregate in July, and it's about mad scientists. And this guy is going into the top 5.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest mad scientist plan in all of them. Usually it's an accident, like I've created a growth serum. It's like, oh, you're going to give it to sheep and chickens? Like, yeah, I'll get to that, but first scorpions and tarantulas. Like, all right, dude. Yeah. Good eating there. But it's, something goes wrong. But this is insane. It's like, I think if I can imagine, this is the kind of guy who gets stuck on the bus talking to you. It's like, yeah, the way we're going, nuclear war. It's like, yeah, man, I'm with you. Like, climate change, yeah, it could be. It's like, well, I got the perfect solution. Really, do you now? Yeah, I'm going to turn everybody into snakes. I'm like, what? Whoa, there's a whole bunch of steps. You lost me. It's the perfect. There's a meme out there from a Spider-Man comic. I'll stop going off on tangents in a minute. Spider-Man comic where he's fighting Sauron. Sauron, for those of you who don't know, because you have a life, is a talking pterodactyl. Used to be a scientist. Learned how to turn people into dinosaurs. Try it on himself and decides he wants to turn everyone into dinosaurs. And Spider-Man is like, wait a second. What you're doing is like amazing. I mean, the genetics required. You could cure cancer. You could save lives. And he's like, I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs. Like, follow your dream.
Marvel fanfare.
Yeah, thank you. That's exactly right. That Mike Golden art. Am I right?
Mike Golden, yeah.
Yeah. See, we're such losers. Anyway, this movie, if you can get past the sheer preposterousness of it, you gotta love this movie. And that ending, I just remember watching that movie and the ending, and I'm like saying to myself, "What the hell?" And then I remembered, oh, wait a minute. I'm a child in the 1970s. This is how movies end. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Moving on.
Yeah.
Incredible.
The reveal.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. But the reveal of him as he's starting to transform into a snake and he's starting to turn green, scaly, in the window when the really bad, I guess this is the teacher, right? That's kind of the arch enemy of or the mad scientist. It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
They tease you with it, and then he looks up, and it's pretty creepy.
That guy, and the whole sequence from Creepshow is why I'm glad I didn't go into college teaching. It seems like a den of vipers, more so in this movie than most. But yeah, they seem real unpleasant.
Thank you, Bill. And I first saw this. There was like a year where I did reviews for horrornews.net, and they asked me to review this shortly after the Blu-ray came out. Somebody else reviewed the Blu-ray, but they asked for just a review of the movie. And if you want to see that, it's still over there on horrornews.net. It was like 2017, I think. But I'm sure we'll talk about everything that's in there because I did, Chad. It's so predictable. If you'd have read that review, you would have run the other way when I asked you to do podcasts with me, because I did the same thing I do on podcasts. I like half the review at least is about the actors and all the other cool stuff they've done. Anyway, no, I wrote in there. I loved it. Yeah, the end.
Sorry about that.
Transformation is squirrely as hell up until as long as he's injecting him and like messing with his DNA and he's starting to get scales and look snaky in a human body. That's probably not doable, but it's believable. You can at least go that far. But when he suddenly morphs from a human down to the size of an actual king cobra.
Where'd all that body mass go?
I know.
30 seconds. I'm just like, whoa, what the hell?
Why couldn't he be a giant snake? Human-sized snake.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But of course, Strother Martin, awesome. Heather Menzies-Urich is great. Dirk Benedict, such a naive young boy. The college student. And then of course, Reb Brown throws a nice little bit in there, and so does Richard Schultz, and so does Tim O'Connor, the sideshow operator. So
yeah.
I think we'll probably talk about all that, but I'll stop there. But there are certain things about this. Like one of the things was when I heard that, when I watched it, I thought snakes don't sound like that. What the hell are they doing? So I Googled, what does a king cobra sound like? Guess what? They sound like that.
It sounds just like it.
I think they amped it a little bit, but otherwise, holy cow.
They distorted it a little. But yeah, they make those noises, but a lot of snakes hiss, but they don't, not to that
kind of almost a growl.
Yeah. It's almost like Jaws 4.
Which you ought to appreciate a lot of the things. I'm going to defend snakes. I love snakes. A lot of the things that people think are snakes being mean and evil and everything are them trying to tell us, get the hell away.
Yeah.
So the cobra hisses really loud. He flattens up his head to make himself look bigger so you can't possibly miss him. The rattlesnake is like, hey, I'm here. Go away. You don't want to mess with me. I don't want to mess with you. Let's just let by. I mean, coral snake makes himself so brightly colored that
red touch yellow, kill a fella.
Oh yeah. Red touch black, poison lack.
I found this just real quickly here.
That's so scary.
Yeah, and that's only part of it. It's actually kind of a two-part thing. It kind of sounds to me like part of it is they're breathing in and then they
Push the air out.
belch it
Exhale.
out or something. But Bill told his snake story, and we did that when I was a little kid. And I mean like pre-10, living in Cedar Falls, Iowa. The Cedar River flooded one year.
Uh-oh.
And we lived on kind of a hill where where the college is, now called the University of Northern Iowa, the little business, there's a little hill going up to it, and they call that business district the hill. But anyway, and our neighbor had like a junk pile in his backyard behind his garage. And I don't know which one of us kids figured it out, but me and 2 or 3 other neighborhood kids, one of us went and jumped up and down on that pile, and the snakes were coming out of there like crazy. And we were just grabbing them, and we were lucky. I think they were all garter snakes, but they, we were grabbing them too fast to really see what kind they were. We also used to make I had a sandbox with wooden sides. We'd make little snake cities in there and put the snakes in there. We didn't torture them.
Good.
Mm-hmm. And they always got out. They can't keep a snake in a sandbox. So anyway, but yeah, snakes. But not all the people in this movie were that were that comfortable with snakes. All right. So I like this. So let's what do we do now?
Oh, I know.
Chad has something to say.
We do this weird thing called Taglines with Chad.
God, you scared me.
Again, we do this weird thing. I'm the only one with his neck stuck out here. Okay.
I should have put extra S's in every one of these. I'd see some.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was waiting. Terror is ready to strike.
Okay. Yeah.
Right before your eyes, see a man turned into a cobra.
Spoilers.
Yeah, right before your eyes. And that is true.
Yeah,
it is.
Somewhat.
Pays off. Yeah.
You'll never be the same after.
That's kind of true too.
Once this motion picture sinks its fangs into you, you'll never be the same. Johnny?
Yeah.
For them, there is no escape. How long do you have to say for the 7 S's?
I don't know, but that one was actually written like that. We'll see that on a poster.
And then Jeff left me a note. Don't say it, hiss it.
No, that's a
Oh, that's a real one.
that's a tagline.
Oh, that's a real tagline.
Yeah, with the parentheses. Yep.
And that's the way they do things. All right, and that's been Taglines with Chad.
Chad's our hero, cool and rad. With him reading taglines, they can't be that bad.
I don't know. Those are pretty lackluster.
I'm gonna quit doing that. I just caught my fancy there for a while, but
It's scary as hell.
All right, so Bill's put together some images here, and we're going to start with this poster, which has nothing to do with the movie, kind of, but it is a great poster.
It's a great
It
poster.
is a good poster. Yeah. Certainly want you do want to see the movie when they have that.
Yes, you do. Well, I guess the snake coming out of it's a woman, right? Because lipstick?
I guess.
Well, I guess it could be a guy with lipstick.
All right.
Yeah,
We don't judge.
Coming out of his mouth could be sort of the representation of him morphing.
Sure.
There's a snake in my mouth.
I mean, it lets you know there's snakes in this movie, so you know.
Chad.
Snake in my mouth.
The horror of it. Okay. And here's another one.
I think this is more for a.
Was that the VHS box? Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at
That
Struther.
picture Struther Martin, man.
I know.
He kind of looks like the
Reanimator.
Reanimator. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. You were reading my mind.
Yeah. And I don't know. We don't have. I know there. I think another version of that original poster has "Say It, Don't Hiss It" on there underneath the title.
Well, I think it's underneath the 3 S's at the bottom there. You can't.
Oh,
see it.
Oh, it is.
You're right.
It is.
Yeah, it's very
small.
small.
Right.
Yeah.
God, I enlarged it to see it, but I still didn't see it because I looked in the wrong place.
That's the
All
tagline I remember hearing.
Well, let's talk about the producer just for a minute, so Doc can get his thing in there.
Ooh.
Zanuck Brown. What's the deal with them?
They went on to some stuff.
They made a cool movie.
David Brown and Richard Zanuck. This was their first movie when they paired up and formed a production company. And what, 2 years later? When did Jaws come out?
75. Yes,
Yeah,
2 years
2 years later, Jaws.
First,
And you
they
could-
made you afraid of snakes, and then they made you afraid of sharks.
Yeah, and it actually makes sense. You know, they learn
Sense?
how to deal with the effects and stuff. For really, maybe I don't know.
Maybe.
No, it kind of makes. Listen, if you, I'm going to make a horror movie. What are people afraid of? Well, snakes. Yeah, sure. So they do that, and then it's like,
What else are they afraid of?
what are they really afraid of, though? Well, sharks.
But
Well,
not
how
as-
hard could that be?
They weren't as much afraid of them before as they were after.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so
I read somewhere that supposedly Spielberg was asked to direct this or something. Do you guys think that that's true? It was just
I read
something
that
I read
somewhere
on
too,
the
but
internet, so I was like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I read that somewhere too, and
It's
I can't
possible.
remember.
It's very possible.
That's a good thing he held out.
This career would have been a lot different.
I'm also glad when they decided to do Jaws and do something stupid like, some mad scientist. I'm going to make sharks smarter to help cure
yeah.
Alzheimer's. And
We'll do that later, right?
yeah.
All right, so the director is Bernard L. Kowalski, and where we heard that name before not too long ago with Black Noon.
Black Noon.
Black Moon. Wow.
And Bill, where is Krakatoa?
It is not east of Java unless you want to take a really long route. I mean, I guess technically on a planet Earth, everything is east of everything. But Krakatoa is actually west of Java.
You got me to look that up, and I was like,
Yep.
wow, yeah. Why? How could you be that dumb?
How could you get that part wrong? The easy part. But I've never
When you get there, ask for Krakatoa Katie. She ain't no lady.
I love the giant leeches, and Night of the Blood Beast is pretty wretched. But
Wretched.
so
It's interesting, he goes way back to that.
yeah.
So what?
Night of the Blood Beast is a Corman movie. Leeches is giant leeches Corman or?
I
It's
think
Corman-esque.
I think it is. If it's not Roger
I think it
Corman,
is.
I think it's I think it is.
But it's fun.
He did a lot of TV shows. He did 16 episodes of Jake and the Fat Man,
Oh, really?
7 episodes of Knight Rider. I thought he did a bunch of
What did he do to deserve that?
Berettas too. Oh, I thought sure you'd be a Knight Rider fan, but
He did some Columbos.
10 episodes of Beretta. Yeah, 2 was it 2 or
It was 4.
4? Holy cow!
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I know who I was thinking of. Tim O'Connor did a couple of Columbos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did too. Gene Corman was the producer. Yeah.
The brother.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of producers, I'm gonna interject real quick, and Daphne, this backs up what you heard, because he did make Sugarland Express, Zucker and Brown, with Steven Spielberg, and of course, the year before Jaws. So they definitely were eyeing him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 episodes of The Untouchables, 6
Exactly.
episodes of Perry Mason. So yeah, a lot of TV work mostly. Then late 60s and early 70s did a bunch of movies, and then back into TV, it looks like in 72, 3, 4. Anyway.
Is that Roy Finnis?
Yes, remember that? We did that movie.
Black Noon. I don't know. I'm getting up there in age. I don't remember.
That was the TV movie where it's a Western. He rode into town.
Oh, yeah.
Who was the man in black?
Yeah, the town was hell.
Yeah,
I remember.
Kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything in this movie that's like, wow, that's that screams attention to itself, but that's okay. I mean, he tells the story efficiently on budget. There was nothing that seemed glaringly wrong. It was well shot. If anything, I think it was a little too brightly lit. I would have gone with a little more shadows and everything. I don't think it did the makeup any favors. The makeup's good, but I think it would be better if it were
more shadows.
Yeah.
It did feel a little TV-ish.
Yeah.
And it was filmed on the back lot of Universal and on stages inside, so makes sense that's what it felt like. But it still holds up. It works well.
Yeah. There were some scenes that I would have believed that wasn't on a set. Some of the ones that looked like they were outside. I thought
the ones outside were on the back lot over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
I see. Got it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of the two features on or interviews on the disc are with Dirk Benedict and Heather Menzies, and they both talk about it. And Heather Menzies talks about, because Dirk talks about how the director liked to play pranks and got Strother Martin so pissed off, and he drove off and drove past. And he says he drove past the Psycho House. So.
Yeah, I wanted to learn more about Kowalski just from how Dirk Benedict was describing him. I was like, there's got to be something I can find out about this guy.
Oh, and his impression of him? Oh my God, the impression was killing me.
He sounded crazy.
What kind of pranks could you do on a movie that has so many snakes?
Well, one of the big stories was the time when he ran away was when apparently Heather Menzies and Strother Martin both were like afraid of snakes. They were not comfortable with snakes.
Yep.
And they just sucked it up because this is real life snakes. The only time it looks like he's handling the snake and it's not really the snake is when he's given the demonstration and he reaches in and grabs the king cobra's head.
Yeah.
That was a puppet, they said. But otherwise, all the other scenes. And I was just thinking about the editor. I got distracted here because one of the bit parts' name is Frank Kowalski, and I was looking to see if he was related. The editor's name is Robert Watts. He won a Emmy for Mission Impossible, but he had to do a good job because there was a lot of cutaway shots where you'd see somebody reaching for a snake, and then you'd cut away and only see the hand, like when they were milking the snakes and stuff like that, for the most part, which makes me kind of think that they weren't really. But what Dirk was claiming, they all had to get bit by a snake.
Yeah, that was confusing me.
Well, and they said that Red Brown, that's his actual feet, and he did get bit by that snake. So.
And Strother Martin got bit on the finger. I mean, you could see that. And that was when he said, "I'm not doing that," and that's when he got bad and took off.
I've been bit by a bunch of snakes. My first year teaching high school, how did I get my street cred up? I took the kids out on a field trip. We found a big black snake, and they were all like ready to throw rocks at it. I'm like, no. And I picked him up, and he turned around and bit me on the arm, on the hand and everything. And I just did nothing. I'm like, yeah, you see, he's not poisonous. So he'll realize he's not going to be able to swallow me. And the kids, their eyes were like saucers. They couldn't believe that this crazy guy was like letting a snake bite him. As long as you don't, because their teeth curve backwards. So as long as you don't try to rip them out and just let them come to the conclusion, they're stupid, but they'll figure out, okay, I'm just going to let this guy go. And then you let them go on their merry way. And you got a couple of little drippy drips of blood, just no big deal. Yeah.
So the effects in this were done by, the credits were John Chambers, who's legendary.
Yep.
For even if he never did anything else, Planet of the Apes makeup, plus Spock's ears before that,
And according to rumor, he also did the Bigfoot video we've all seen a million times.
Oh, really?
He denied it, and
of course. He started his career designing prosthetics for amputees and patients in the military requiring reconstructive surgery. And then he won an honorary award for Oscars for Planet of the Apes.
They didn't have a makeup award back then. He's also, if you ever saw the movie Argo,
yes,
he was instrumental in that whole scam. It was a way they duped the Iranians into thinking they were making a giant theme park. Jack Kirby, John Chambers, all these artists, and it was all subterfuge so that they could rescue these Canadians who were hiding out during the hostage crisis. And John Chambers got a special award from the CIA for doing it, but he couldn't tell anyone about it, or he had to kill him until years later. He was a cool guy, John Chambers.
Yeah, I'd say I read somewhere too that he actually made makeup kits for CIA people for disguises in the 70s. So
it's like awesome life. I just want to say that middle picture. What is even the point of putting restraints on a person that you're going to turn into a snake? It's like putting handcuffs and then we're going to turn you into a snake. It's like, well, these handcuffs aren't going to really matter much, will they? No, not really. I hadn't thought of that.
Looks more science fiction-y with the big clamp on there.
Yeah,
that's right.
So, guys, I had started hearing his name for a while and didn't know anything about him. So I was looking him up and I found an interview. Dan Strepek, who was the head of the makeup department at 20th Century Fox in 1967, replacing Ben Nye. He was also like Tom Hanks' personal makeup guy in 16 of his movies, starting with Dragnet in 1987. He contributed to 9 films that were nominated for Best Picture Oscars. So this guy is really well known, and obviously if he was doing Tom Hanks, he worked on a ton of great pictures, right, on through the ages. So, and then the other guy was Nick Marcelino, 1972 nominee for Primetime Emmy for the Night Gallery episode Pickman's Model, which he shared with John Chambers and Leonard Engelman. But anyway, and I wonder just exactly how the genesis of this went, because Dan Strepek is listed as a producer, story by, and uncredited makeup designer. That's his only producer and writing credit. All the rest of his credits are makeup credits. And if you look at them, there's some pretty good stuff in there. So, and there's some interviews online if you want to check them out. So, yeah, I think everything up until when that thing in the middle picture starts happening, and it's kind of interesting. If it would have stayed human size, the fact that it sort of so what were they? Was that just pure animation, or did they do lap dissolves, or
it looked like lap dissolves?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Kind of a throwback to the old, how's a guy become a werewolf sort of thing.
But it wasn't really the best use of it either. But at the time, right, Chad? At the time, it was kind of like
at the time it was probably
So we have that shot. The shot in the upper right was when Dirk Benedict, or what the heck was his name? David is checking in at the sideshow at the carnival and sees the snake, half man, half snake, who is a past assistant to Dr. Stoner. And that character is played by
Noble Craig.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No. I just said to Bill because he put this picture together. So yeah.
Yeah. This guy. So he was in Vietnam for a week, and a landmine took both his legs, one of his arms, most of one of his arms. And as you can see in the upper right, if you're not watching this from home, he's water skiing. And this is not a before shot. This is an after Vietnam shot. He is water skiing with, holding with his one arm onto the thing. It's just, beyond belief, and found himself used in roles where they needed someone who had come into some misfortune, made the best of it. He's probably been seen by most horror fans in one of the, I can't remember which one it is. I think it might be The Dream Child, one of the Freddy Krueger movies, Nightmare on Elm Street movies, where Freddy is pulling himself out of the body of an actress, and they used him because, if you had to use a person who had all their limbs, you had to figure out where to put them. That wasn't a problem. So he played Freddy Krueger in one scene, one good shot. And
didn't he play the vomit monster in Poltergeist too?
Yeah.
Yes. And he was one of the monsters that comes out of the cave in Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay.
Oh, and really? Sewer Monster and what else? The Blob in the 80s.
Oh yeah, in the Blob.
He's soldier. The soldier that's
like dissolved and still alive.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
All of these. I mean, I love all of these movies. He's been in each of them.
But you just have to admire someone who got a pretty tough break in life and managed to make something of it, do something with that, and lived a full life. He's no longer with us, but hats off to him.
Yeah, had 5 kids.
Yeah.
The opening scene is Dr. Stoner and Kogan, Tim O'Connor, are carrying this crate out of the doctor's basement and loading it on a truck for the carnival sideshows. It says Kogan shows on the side of the truck. And all the time you hear this kind of whimpering noise, and you don't know what it is, and they don't talk about it. But then when his daughter comes home from taking care of her sister's baby or something, I think was the deal, she's like, where's what's his name?
Jim. Where's Jim?
He left. He left. He had to leave. He had to go.
Hurry. This guy had 5 kids. Can you imagine, like, on Bring Your Dad to School Day, and all the other dads are like, I sell insurance, and then this guy shows up and tells his story, and you can see me at the drive-in where I play the Snake Man. Everyone else is like, I give up. I wish you were my dad. Shut up, I'm right here. God.
My dad has all his limbs and he can't water ski.
So that's kind of cool. And finally then when they go to he and Dirk Benedict, David and Heather Menses, whose name is Christina Stoner. Yeah, they go to the carnival.
Stoner. What a great last name.
Yeah. Very apt.
Which Strother Martin was in Up in Smoke, and his character's name was Stoner.
Oh my God, that he was hilarious in that, especially was talking about the Finkelstein kid.
Yeah.
Next door, I was dying.
It's I haven't seen that for so long. I have to see
Can we
it.
somehow make that horror adjacent and do it? We can stretch the truth.
Hey, how about Patreon?
Yeah. There you go. We could do it for Patreon.
Or well, Cheech dancing around in those pink leotards and the ballet tutu is kind of horrifying. All right.
I'm just thinking of the song, man. Oh my God.
This whole thing. And so he sees this half snake, half. Now, apparently, Felix Silla was in one of the carnival shots. I missed it.
Very brief scene, but I thought it was him. Very young. He was in the back when she was when she was asking to see if she could see the snake guy. He's there. He has maybe one line.
They all have one line.
I love the shot. The shot where you see the tear coming through the makeup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that was awesome.
Yeah. Now, Chad, were you like me that when Dirk Benedict saw him, you weren't really scared? You were more like in awe, right? But when Heather Menzies' character comes in and then sees him and starts screaming and saying, no, it suddenly became the scariest thing you ever saw.
His humanity is back there.
Yeah. Well, and also with the sounds that they always had with him, kind of like the I wouldn't want to say moaning, but it was just, you could tell he was, he wasn't doing well.
Yeah.
It was very sad.
The whimpering and the...
Even like I said in the beginning in the box, it was like, this isn't good. it wasn't like not good and like, ooh, what's in the box kind of scary thing. It was like, this isn't bad things are happening.
I didn't understand why he got rid of Tim or Jim or whatever his name was. Why did he get rid of him?
Oh, was it Tim or Jim? I don't know.
It was Tim.
I think it was Tim.
Tim.
It was Tim.
Yeah, because he apparently
he was well on his way.
Yeah.
Maybe he
maybe he didn't complete the thing.
Maybe it's because he wasn't symmetric.
Maybe he needed the money.
You guys,
I need a circus freak, Doc.
What did Heather Menzies have to say about Strother Martin?
Oh, she thought he was great.
Yeah.
From the interview,
Yeah.
Didn't she say they remained like he was like a father figure almost to
Yeah.
her?
Yeah.
Very, very close. Very close to him.
Well, somebody, and I don't remember who said it, but they could even have been Dirk Benedict on the piece on the Blu-ray, but we're saying that he was, I think of him as Cool Hand Luke, or Butch Cassidy, a Sundance Kid, or even the Outlaw and Hanny Calder we've talked about recently, and where he's always just this sweaty, grody, uneducated guy, and he really isn't like that he really is kind of an intellectual, and he was so excited to play this educated PhD world-renowned scientist, and boy, it's not really, at first thinking it's against type, but it's really not. If that's what he's like, he does a really good job. You don't see those other people in there at all. He's acting. He's acting.
Was he in Kiss Me Deadly?
Yes.
He was
he was.
There's a lot of people who were famous that had small parts.
Yeah.
And that was like real young for him. So.
Well, there's your answer. What the clamp is for? It's to hide his junk.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they didn't have any big leaves.
It's to hide the other snake. So.
There was nothing about being an expert.
I'm so slow.
Nothing about being an expert in snake venom is going to help you turn a human into a snake. It's just like the knowledge base you would need for this, the gene splicing,
he's hiding some of his PhDs, I think.
Now, I will say the one part that is true where he's like, oh yeah, I've been bit by so many snakes that they use my blood for anti-venom. That's true, because there was a guy in Florida. He had like a big Snakes R Us emporium or whatever. And he was a snake guy. He milked them and sold the venom and everything. And he had been bitten so many times, no matter how careful you are, one day, that his blood, if someone got bit by a snake and they didn't know what snake it was, they would just have this guy go down, give him some of his blood, and 9 times out of 10, that fixed it. And here's the crazy part. When I saw the interview with him, he was like in his 90s, looked like he was in his 60s and looking good in his 60s. So is snake venom the fountain of youth? Is there something, or what?
There's a sequel. There's a sequel.
All I know is it makes my back feel better.
Say, Bill, I noticed you're kind of into these movies on the Countess Bathory.
Yeah.
I noticed there's a billionaire tech guy who's become the new Countess Bathory.
The stuff about injecting youthful blood into you on a regular basis. Yeah, that guy needs to be watched carefully. But there may be something to it. And although it's one of those things, if it ever turns out to be true, they'll probably suppress it, because you could very easily see where this could go wrong. There is a lot of evidence that donating blood at any age is good for you, because it's a small amount, but it's enough to get your body to start making fresh blood to get you back up to normal. And that seems to have health benefits. Or that is a total lie told by the blood bank industry to try to get us out there donating blood. But you know what? If
Big
it's a
blood,
lie,
you gotta look out for them.
At least it's a lie that'll help people. So
the blood is the life.
The shot on the top there is when he's messing around with the the Black Mamba, which
I don't think that's a Black Mamba.
I don't either.
No, if that's Strother Martin, it is not a Black Mamba. That is.
And then in the bottom picture, he's getting bit, and I actually think that's him. I don't think that's a cutaway.
No, it was
actually. Yeah. I cut that down too, so you could see the snake biting him. So yeah, that is him.
Good.
Yeah.
So he's actually hiding. That's when he had
genuinely
to get bit.
Scary. Now it kind of looks like a black mamba. They're not black. Their mouths are black. Just to make it a bit more horrible. It'd be fine. A black snake is black snake. They're all over the place. But this one's got kind of a dark green color and a black mouth. Like the last thing you see is it bites you in the face. Abyss coming to
I'm going to say this before Bill does, because I saw this somewhere. That guy who says stuff like this several times, he talks about poisonous snakes, and the correct terminology is venomous snakes. and he does. He goes poisonous when he's talking about the color coding,
his color system,
and then the red is the most venomous snakes, and then he turns it around and says venomous. But anyway,
can we go back to the picture, the two pictures we had before this, with him reading Leaves of Grass and.
Yeah.
I just really, I really think he did a great job being this mad scientist that is, good and smart and kind and is able to have all those feelings, but has zero qualms killing someone, zero qualms like having your die by having your snake eat you up and swallow you, but just
shoes.
I mean, I just thought he did a really good job, because if I met him, I would think this is I would let him do his tests on me.
He knows what he's talking about.
Sure. Well, and he loved Christina, and he loved his snakes, and
he liked the people he turned into. Listen, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
Exactly. No, but also just very good at being like totally believable that he would kill somebody, no question.
Astronauts to his new world, right?
But you also totally believe that he had a relationship with this snake, that they were best friends.
Yes, exactly.
Drinking buddies even.
It was like this I don't know. I just think he did great. It was very, believable in a way. That part was kind of believable.
And from his
as a
point
person.
of view, if you really believe that the only future that humans have is to be turned into snakes, first, get help. But second, that's what you're going to do. You're going to do stuff like this. It makes no sense. I mean, why would snakes do so much better after an atomic war? If he's going to turn people to roaches, I'd be like, they'll probably be all right. But ew.
Well, he's in an echo chamber. He's surrounded by snakes.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell him anything. And they're like, yes. Yeah.
So kiss me deadly. There you go, there, Doc.
We had him in Nightwing.
Kiss me once.
And
that's the puppet right there. There's no way they would get that kind of shot with a live cobra.
Well, no. Well, that, and when the live cobra was there, they had plexiglass.
Yeah.
In between.
But that's not it, because he's
no.
Well, they also said they spent. They when they had the real cobras, they spent most of their time chasing it around the pen because they couldn't get them to go into the the strike mode. That's what they
make them mad, James.
Well, if there was a cameraman behind him, that snake would not
turn around.
Turn its back.
There you go. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good shot. Those were good shots.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when they blew his head off, I thought that was pretty.
Pretty intense. Real good.
Now, wasn't that like a? Because that was, if Strother Martin was, there was a character, the scientist was laying there, Mr. Stoner, but he, it was a mask, right? It was like a mask of Dr. Stoner.
I didn't pay that close attention.
I didn't know that.
I don't think he was laying there.
It's Dr. Stoner, by the way.
Dr. Stoner.
I didn't spend 4 years in mad scientist school to be Mr. Stoner. Thank you very much.
Yeah, see, is that not like a
bottom shot? Yeah.
Mask over a dummy?
Huh.
I'm thinking you're probably right. Because
either that or a stuntman with.
That'd be the cheapest way to go with shooting a live shotgun, probably.
Yeah, because when they shoot him, that body does not move except for the splatter.
Uh-huh.
Well, but a human playing at that person would.
That's got to be a dummy. Yeah, that's got to be a dummy.
That's a beautiful cobra, though.
That is. They're magnificent creatures. I mean,
They are. They have the war.
Now,
I
they
love
said-
their scaled shapes on their head. That just.
They
I
said
don't know.
no snakes were harmed in the making of this movie, so they didn't really blow the head off.
Okay.
Of King Cobra.
Yeah, I take on.
Please say that's true.
It looked pretty real.
And see, the word that's coming to my head right now is horse shit. How did they fake? What did the mongoose and the snake get together and talk out, choreograph how they were going to do their?
Yeah,
there was blood and fights.
Yeah.
This is true.
That was real. Yeah, that had to be. Yeah.
No, they're probably saying.
Well, they could have used a snake that died naturally.
But the snake was moving when he was fighting the
Well,
cobra.
maybe they stopped it before he died.
The one Red Brown had, he was treated pretty
That
roughly.
was nasty too. That
And it looked real to me. That looked like a real snake. And,
But what you were saying, Chad, about
I think they said it was. Yeah.
how beautiful the snake is, I really liked in a lot of the shots of the snakes that you could really tell this how the scaling wasn't perfect, and so it looked really real.
Well, it looked like that one the one they were filming just shed recently.
Yeah,
it had a lot of leftover skin on it.
Yeah.
And everything. So.
I thought that was really cool.
When they show the one reared up inside the cage, and Strother Martin is introducing Dirk Benedict's character to it. At first, I'm thinking that's a statue or a puppet or something. But when they zoomed in for a close up, the thing was breathing. I mean, I don't think they went that far with them to. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I noticed like 3 spots where they used the puppet, and there were 2 of those back shots, and then there was another one where he was face to face with Strother Martin.
Yeah, come up out of the background, and it was a pretty good shot too. Like you need a bigger yard.
Really need a bigger yard.
So Dirk Benedict.
Yeah, who's that guy?
He of the A-Team in Battlestar Galactica.
Yep.
Starbuck.
I believe this is his first.
He's retired and he's making coffee now. So
Stop.
I can't. It's just my nature.
I thought he did, like you guys were saying, a really good job being innocent and sweet.
Yeah.
Very likable.
Well, this was his first lead, Jeff, but he was in a year before. He was in Georgia.
Oh, that's right.
And he was in a Hawaii 5-0 thing. But what I liked about his interview is that he didn't really want to be in this movie. He wanted to be a singer, right? Like what?
Or stage or something like that. Yeah, he wasn't really interested in it. You're right, Doc. Yeah.
His agent convinced him to do it.
He said he went and met with Richard Zanuck, and that it was just this really weird meeting. He didn't know what the meeting was for. He was just told to go meet with him, and the guy says, "Okay, well, that's enough," and he left. And before he even got home, his agent's calling him and saying he got the part. He didn't have any idea.
What's this movie about?
But it was kind of cool. Like he had to go and get hair and makeup done or something, and all the people he described that was in the room, because everybody would go to was amazing. I think he said Jimmy Stewart was there.
He had to have a face cast done. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
To get the face cast done.
Yeah. But you mean just walking around the studio and stuff? Yeah, that is very cool.
Especially when you're that young and there's all these icons hanging around.
I was trying to figure out. I was looking up, what happened. He was hot stuff, and then what happened. And there, I wasn't totally convinced by all of the comments, the different speculations. One of them was that the lovable rogue had gone out of style, like he played in Face and Starbuck. The other one was he was too outspoken, which I believe. He didn't seem to have any filter at all.
Nobody knew what he was saying, but he was very
I saw a video of him at a Comic-Con in God, was it Holland?
Wow.
Just last year. And he's talking just like he did in this thing. He's just like riffing all over the place. Nobody's laughing at his jokes because they're American kind of jokes, you know. It's just like he says something about I'm wearing a, you know, like I don't have a wig, but I do have a cod piece.
Tap tap. Is this on?
Y'all know what a cod piece is?
Oh my gosh.
That lovable rogue.
Yeah.
I think he said some unusual things too when the new Battlestar Galactica came out.
Yeah, he wasn't
about having a female character.
Yeah, he was totally anti that. She should have been a different person, different character. She shouldn't have been. Starbuck was.
Yeah.
So I watched Battlestar Galactica, but then I didn't realize it was like a what was it? Battlestar 1980 or Galactica 1980?
Yeah.
That was like 10 episodes and they had different people on it.
It was terrible. But there was one episode with him. That was like a
whatever happened. Episode.
Whatever happened to him.
And then I totally did not realize that I mean, she looks just like her. I didn't realize it at the time, but the one female was June Lockhart's daughter.
Huh.
I think her name was Anne Lockhart. She played Sheba. She was in maybe half the episode, something like that. Anyway, all right. Well, there's Dirk, handsome devil.
Yeah, I can almost see like a glint of shine on that tooth there.
Yeah.
You know?
Bing.
And then I know I'm reading something into it, but I saw some interview that was from some short that they used to plug in on the Sci-Fi Channel in the mid '90s, and they had Richard Hatch, Lockhart, Dirk Benedict, and Glenn Larson, the creator of the show, and then the interviewer, and it really seemed to me like the other three were putting up with him. He just would shoot stuff in there. He's just throwing stuff out there. They just would, you know, I don't know. It was very strange. I actually know a guy that talks a lot like that.
It was a fun interview, but it took me a second to like.
He doesn't finish a lot of
in there. Pay
attention. And he started the sentences in the middle. It was weird.
Yeah. Anyway.
I liked some in the middle.
Yeah, I did. Did you guys see when he started? I mean, it was obvious, but when he started going after Steve and he was like biting him and he was doing that head.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had to laugh. That was what made me so happy. I know. It's just. I mean, he had commitment to this, and like when he was turning into, you know, like really turning it with his stomach pains and all this stuff, he was really committed to it. I was like almost like looking like, is that really him? You know, and
he did a great job.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of scenes in here that the only reason they're in here is to show you what a jackass Steve Randall is.
Yeah, they did a good job.
How he treats he's got the one woman in bed with him who wants to, apparently she wants repeat performances, and he's like, no, coach says only twice a night.
Yeah, and he's all but strangling her, trying to get her off of him.
And then he just walks into the shower. Well, let's get to that. So here's Heather and Struther. And of course, there's a crossover later on with Reb Brown and Heather and Captain America.
Yep. Boy, and I was all excited for that. And then I watched it.
Yeah, I remember that too.
The football helmet looking thing and the
motorcycle.
And I still watched the second one.
Yeah, maybe it'll get better.
Well, the second one had Christopher Lee, so that's
that's right.
You know, you got to watch it.
She was also
what a piece of trash.
She was also in Piranha, which we have covered, so you guys could check that out. And Logan's Run. We did the movie
TV show.
I watched
that's a TV show.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
It was one episode by Harlan Ellison, and that's about all I remember. It didn't run long. It was wasn't it in the Friday night death slot that they kept sticking science fiction TV shows?
Oh, probably.
Die. They would die every time. We're like, well, I'll try it with Planet of the Apes and Death. It never worked. It never worked.
So one of her key things was she was Von Trapp kids in Sound of Music. So that's her dancing, the oldest one, and that's Angela Cartwright on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Another sort of a more close-up shot of her face in black and white. But
look at that girl at the bottom.
I know.
Photo bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's just interesting to me that she was when they such opposing things. And if you look at her IMDb, I'd say 3/4 of the pictures in her are Sound of Music. All right. She does a great job, and later marries Robert Urich.
Yep.
Yes.
And they met on doing some commercial together.
That's nice.
Oh wow.
I think
I didn't know
corned
that.
beef hash or something like
They
that.
were together, they were together till his death.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Maybe get rid of that piece of information so something good can settle into that empty space there.
All right. Well, we have talked about Reb Brown already, and here he is being
A jerk.
a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to sneak into her bedroom.
Yeah, what
What,
the
what
hell?
a creepy ass thing to do. But but you could tell that he felt that was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
And
but
I was
that's
like,
the-
oh my
yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Girls love an assertive guy.
Yeah.
Well, he was convinced that she liked him.
Yeah. How could she not?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I like how Dirk managed to slip 2 evolution jokes on him, and both of them go right over his big old head.
Me ought to pound you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Reb Brown is one of the nicest guys on the planet too.
Right.
Is he?
Oh my god.
I would believe it. I feel like it seems like that's how it turns
Seems like
out.
that a lot of times, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And he gets his comeuppance in the shower.
One thing I don't like about snake movies is they always give snakes behavior that snakes do not do. Like the guy at the gas station, he reaches in and the snake automatically coils around.
Yeah.
The snake will bite first and then coil around your
Yeah.
hand. But that, as you can see, this snake coils around you ass in first and says, I'll get to the biting later, buddy. Yeah.
Well, he was drunk. Harry was
Oh,
drunk.
that's true. That is
So
true.
I think it impaired his judgment.
Right.
Well, I was wrong, Chad, because Chad shared with us this picture. There it is.
Is it the foot picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, that's where he got bit, but it isn't where he got bit. He got bit on the other foot.
Yeah, that's why it freaked me out about it.
It's like, what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with his foot? Yeah. Damn.
I'm
There's a
sorry.
glob of something on his little toe.
Yeah.
I think it's
something.
a toenail. I think it's a toenail.
And that's probably what happens when
It
somebody
looks
tells
like
you
something that's lying in the deli case.
just stay in there and pretend you're taking a shower until the snake bites you and your toes just curl up.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Eddie Murphy's nightmare. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
You remember the
Sorry-
movie where he
sorry,
didn't
Reb.
like the girl's feet?
Yeah.
And then some stuff that Rep did.
Rev did.
Your.
Your.
And
Oh my
and
gosh.
Daphne, is that what you shared with us?
The
Space
Space Mutiny.
The MST.
Yeah.
Oh, Space Mutiny.
MST3K, the Space Mutiny.
That
one,
was
yeah.
pretty good.
Big
The
McLarge huge.
Yeah.
Top one there, the sword and the sorcerer.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Mm.
It is. It's trash, but I love it. It's one of those just sci-fi
Okay.
or fantasy type movies.
Well, we'll get to it.
Sword
sometime.
and sorcery, yeah.
What's he in Howling 2? Who's he in Howling 2? Is he one of the
He's
He's the brother.
yeah, that's right.
Oh, I thought
okay.
I thought he was a boob.
I should
Play
know that
on
piece
words.
of
Play on
information
words.
about that piece of crap movie, but I do.
Mm.
That's
Which one?
that.
Howling.
Any of the Howlings, but after the first one, are trash.
Right. Yeah.
So
Any
for
of
people listening to this, we've got him in his Captain America outfit with, I don't think, I'm not a comic book, maven
No, it's
like
not
you guys,
accurate
but
at all.
I don't think that uniform is accurate in any version of
Or the
shield or the helmet. And then we also have what's the top right one, Chad?
The Sword and the Sorcerer.
Sword and the Sorcerer, Space Mutiny, Howling 2, and You're the Hunter from the Future.
I have a soft spot for Yor.
Do you?
Yeah.
You just
It's on top of my head.
So Doctor, you were dropped there too.
Yeah.
Red Brown is a fairly buff guy, and yet the poster from Yor looks like me with my shirt off, and it's not very inspiring. It's not photographed well.
Yor is caveman for dad bod.
Killing me.
You are right.
So this guy is Richard B. Schull, and he's the head of the department, who is a
Sure.
He basically preys
Total
on
creep.
female students and
He does. It needs a haircut real bad.
makes dumb jokes and uses his authority to screw with Dr. Stoner.
Mm-hmm.
And so he comes out to start sneaking around. I don't remember exactly why. And
He comes out to give him some news about something.
Oh, I turned down your
Yeah.
grant. You haven't shown up, so I have to come out there so that
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see the look on your face when I turn you down.
yeah.
And the last thing we see of him is his foot disappearing into a snake's mouth.
I know it's not wild.
It would take that snake
I love that.
a week to swallow
Yeah.
something that big.
Yeah.
It's not quite to scale.
No, but it's
It gets the
conveys the
point
message.
across,
Yeah. When I was watching this movie, I was like, boy, this guy, I remember seeing him and disliking him in a different movie. And it was Splash, where he plays basically the same role.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's been a long
Flash.
time.
Oh my gosh.
He's the one telling Eugene Levy that he's an idiot and, wrong about everything. And then when it turns out, no, there really is a mermaid, doesn't apologize, just keeps being a jerk.
Yeah.
So first he goes up and looks in the window and thinks he sees David, but then realizes, oh my God, he's a snake boy.
Yeah.
And then he goes digging around down in the basement, and the giant python's down there.
Well, no,
Now, I
he
thought
gets
you
hit
had
in the back of the head right after he sees the snake.
Yeah, he bangs
Yeah.
him at the window,
and then he wakes
tracks
up
him
and
down there.
wakes up. chained
Oh,
up
that's
in
right.
there.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Where
right.
he's
Dr. Stoner
doodling drawings on it.
Yeah,
the back
'cause I'll
wall.
tell you, if I'm snooping around the neighborhood, I'm not saying I do or don't, but if I look in a window and I see a snake boy, the next thing that snake boy is going to be seeing is the back of my head rapidly receding into the horizon. But
Doesn't
no,
work
he
that
takes
way.
a crowbar to the back of the head.
Oh
well.
Well,
yeah, and then he swallows them, and we see the
Tenderized
dissolving.
him.
I loved it. I loved it. I don't care if it's realistic. I
No.
thought it was great.
And speaking of snakes, one of our lead characters
Harry.
is
yeah.
Harry
Poor
the
Harry.
snake. They periodically give him drinks of whiskey in a saucer.
Don't do that, by the way.
Yeah, the Alka-Seltzer. Oh,
that
poor
was hilarious
Harry.
too.
And then
And
Reb
she's a
Brown
herpetologist.
thrashes him around. I think by the time it gets down there and he's doing that, it could have been a fake.
I think so. I hope so.
Slamming
hope
it down
so.
to the ground. and
It
stuff,
didn't.
and
It
then-
didn't look. It didn't look.
It didn't
fake.
look fake. It didn't look like a rubber snake to me. It looked like a dead
It
snake.
was
Just want to
terrible. Yeah,
say.
it was terrible.
I mean, maybe they have dead snakes. You know, snakes do die eventually.
Yeah,
You
maybe.
have frozen waiting for. I don't know.
And
I
then he
like
screams
Brown.
how screwed up they are, and then
I love that part. I love that part. It's like, how dare you? I just came here to probably rape your daughter, and this is how you treat me. Good day, I
freaks.
say, and runs. Yeah,
You
A
people
bunch
are
of
weird.
snake freaks.
Snake freaks. That's right.
But
nobody
I
thinks to
like
call the
Strother-
cops on this guy.
No, but I like Strother Martin's reply. You know that guy's name?
What's
Yeah.
that boy?
I know. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah,
At
nobody
that
was
point, you're
thinking-
like, he's gonna get in that car.
He
and
doesn't
drive
get all
away.
excited about it. He just goes, "Here's what we're doing."
Yeah.
I
thought it was funny that Christina and Dirk Benedict's character David, that they just watched him drive away. I'm like, you guys, you got to know what he's doing.
Mhm.
But maybe you don't. You have no idea what's going on. But wow.
Well, they were both a bit naive.
Yeah.
Come on.
So
Even before that.
Threw these out just to have some more snake shots. That king
Yeah.
cobra was cool.
He is
Yeah.
cool. They just have that feeling of power. They like
Mhm.
they lift their head way up higher than most snakes. You know, it's just
And there's something
And
about
Can
the-
strike from
the-
that
the
position.
widening of the
The
neck.
hooding,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Just
sometimes they'll spit at you. You know, not the spitting cobras. So.
And
so do llamas, but not the same thing.
If you want to see
I guess I
fun,
already
look up
looked
on
at that
YouTube. The crocodile hunter had an episode where he goes and there's no other word to put it. Molests a spitting cobra. The spitting cobra is minding his own damn snake business, and here comes Steve Irwin. Crikey goes running up there in his little shorts and is grabbing him by the tail and trying to pull him out and everything, so we can get a good look at him and everything. And the snake's like spitting away and like, go
Yeah.
away, leave me alone.
dancing around him and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, he spit right in my eye.
Oh, that's a sting.
So this is kind of the some of the transitions. Bill's got one that's the ending, but this is
Ain't he cute?
Yeah.
he's trying to get to the phone. He just can't get there. And then the shot at the bottom is, well,
Doesn't his head kind of look like the monsters in Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, the big guys with the little tiny snake heads?
Yeah. Yeah, I know you're talking about now.
Doesn't look scary, that's for sure.
Oh,
it looks like he's smiling right there.
Yeah.
and the color. Why is
Yeah.
it pink?
Yeah.
Pink? Come on now.
And I guess the premise is he'll have the body of a cobra, but the mind of a human. I'm like, his brain has got to be like this big now. There's no
Again,
way.
you should have left him the size of a human. You know?
Yeah.
It's just, all
Maybe
right.
he's red because all the heat that's being generated by his
Yeah.
metamorphosis.
Well, and here's how you know which
You
one
should-
is Dirk. It's the one with the blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
Oh, I
Blue
know.
eyes, yes.
Oh, that was good.
But didn't they finally make a humanoid snake in like Dreamscape?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They should have done that here.
Yeah, they
This
show you
is
stop motion.
and there's a battle with the mongoose, but that doesn't look. That snake looks all white.
Well, I think that's the bottom. Light on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even around it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like
Ricky
it's
Tikki Tavi.
I know
Yeah,
we're supposed
yeah,
to
yeah.
root. Yeah, we're supposed to root for the mongoose, but man, that seems like a really awful.
And it's
weaselly-
not really a mongoose. It's a South American stand-in of some kind.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
everybody.
Somewhere it said that in the.
If it was super violent, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely a
Yeah.
weasel.
And there's the other Menzies reaction.
That's our last
That's the
shot.
final
Yeah.
shot. Yes.
So good. So good.
My boyfriend's getting eaten by a mongoose. Like, wow.
My dad's
I
dead.
didn't-
Yeah, this movie had such a upbeat ending. I guess.
Downer.
Oh, I loved it.
But
That
all the
was
70s
perfect.
movies did, right? I mean, that was the thing.
Mhm.
So was there a plan to do a sequel where like she was pregnant while he was,
They kind of hinted
They
that that's where they could
definitely
go.
hinted
Yeah.
at it. Yeah.
we could have had the fly too with two.
Yeah, oh,
Not
Daddy
have
got a little
intercourse.
worked up when he thought
Yeah.
she was.
Oh, yeah.
Whoop-de doing with him.
Yeah. The
Whoop-de
sequel
doing.
would have. The
Whoop-de
sequel would have
doing.
been.
Is that
Yeah.
official word? Whoopie
That's my wife's term.
Whoop-de doing.
Whoopie doing.
Yep.
Making whoopie.
Do
But
not
I don't
have
know.
intercourse.
I really bought the relationship though.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I like, I mean, because he said something about, I don't know, it was an off the cuff saying that was kind of, sexually oriented. And she goes, well, show me. And out they go. Like, whoa, well, hell yeah. It would have been even funnier if they ran off, like,
Aren't you going to say anything? Holy shit!
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and there was another scene. I know that they're just trying to make it like she couldn't see him because she didn't have her glasses on, but was that necessary? It was all blurry.
Yep.
Again, I didn't understand what was going on.
Well, that was also so that he could be fully naked, but we didn't, we didn't get an R rating because it's so blurry.
Okay,
It's like,
yeah.
wow. Yeah.
They put those on there because they wanted to maintain a PG rating. It was a different time, apparently.
Yeah.
They didn't think adults would go see this Snake Boy.
And she, she's got the round glasses, which were really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got that cool hippie chick vibe going
Yeah,
on.
She does. She does.
Yeah, the posters in her room. They did a really good job with the
Yeah.
set design and that. Yeah.
I thought I had a picture of it, but I don't. When they're carrying the giant python out,
Mm-hmm.
put them in the basement.
Yes.
That is, that's when she said in her interview, that's when she was the most freaked out.
Because she was supposed to hold it under
She's carrying the head.
Yeah.
That's a major snake.
Which is the most dangerous part.
Sure.
Dr. Stoner keeps asking this goofball, the sheriff is Jack Ging, and his sidekick, Sheriff or Deputy Bach, who Strother Martin is so great. He plays these, apparently not related to the German composer. And the guy's like, "Who?" And he doesn't make a face, he doesn't react, he just moves on.
Yeah.
This guy's too dumb to get that reference, so I'll say something else.
He's so good in this movie.
Hey, I just want someone else who should have been killed in this movie. The guy who takes the picture after she tells him like 4 times, no, don't take any photographs while my dad is wrestling with the most poisonous snake on earth. Okay. And everyone's like, sure. What kind of douche nozzle will do that? And there's that guy with his big ass camera, Flavor around his neck. And, and then he looks, everyone looks at him like, you disgust me.
Okay, so I do have a
I think
question.
he shrugs his shoulders too, doesn't he?
I'm an idiot.
What do you expect me to do? So he gets bit by the black mamba, and he says, I've been bitten enough times to handle 10 of these. But then at the end, he gets bit by the king cobra, and it's lights out.
So also, is he like drunk, or has he just had a psychotic break? Why did he do that? It's like, I have finally achieved my life's goal. I've turned a man into a snake. And now I got to tell the world, the Nobel Prize Committee, no, I'm going to go talk to a cobra face to face.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess mad
arrogance
is the first word is mad.
Yeah.
Hubris.
Good point.
I did want to bring up, and I shouldn't have said anything until I got to it. Some of the people on this film. So they had, this is another one of those films that's got pretty decent people. They've got the composer is Patrick Williams, who was nominated for an Oscar for Breaking Away, the bicycle
bike movie.
Yeah. And the cinematographer is Gerald Perry Finnerman, who was the first director of photography inducted into the Producers Guild of America Hall of Fame for his cinematography on Star Trek.
Cool.
Another kind of strange story was in 1969, while scouting locations, he was seriously injured in a plane crash that killed the pilot and the other passenger, Robert Spar, who had been a director for Star Trek. The TV show, which reminds me, I have to tell this Dan Stripick story. He was just one of those guys that did what he wanted to do. He didn't wait around to wait things. Like when he learned how to do makeup, he told somebody he wanted to be a makeup artist, and they told him to go buy all these Max Factor kits. Apparently they had different kits back then. And in the meantime, when he was in high school, he got a job working for I think it was the forestry department as a firefighter. And they were supposed to hire kids, but they were kind of like overlooked that. He was 14.
Jeez.
And he worked there 4 summers. But the first year he was there was a plane crash. A P-38 crashed from a training flight. It was where they were training pilots. And they went to fight the fire, and he looked in the cockpit, and the pilot's head was gone. And then when they got the fire out, the guy that was running the show gave him a bucket and said, "Here, go get the head. It's over there."
And he's 14-year-old?
Yeah. I'm just like, I guess it's not surprising he got into special effects. I don't know. He had to put that to use, but I just thought that was a crazy story. All right.
Certainly shapes your future. That's
Final comments on this flick. I love it.
Go see it now.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but it's fun.
It makes no
It's
sense.
streaming on.
Well, one other thing about the cinematographer, it said that he was uncredited, Finnerman, but that he was involved in, I think, Halloween 2 and
Yes.
Blade Runner.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
and Phantom of the Paradise.
Yes.
Mm.
If
So,
you
that was
if you
cool.
look these guys up, there's a lot of interaction on these
Mm-hmm.
TV shows like Mission Impossible. I think several of these of the crew worked on
Mm-hmm.
Mission Impossible one time or another. Of the ones that we've mentioned. So Star Trek. Anyway. I guess
It's an awesome eco horror, nature gone amok.
Yes. Well,
wacky scientist, mad scientist.
Awesome,
it's awesome movie.
it's pretty obvious, Bill. I mean, in 1972 or 73, they knew that they were going to run out of fossil fuel within 50 years, and the planet was going to go dark, and only cold-blooded animals would survive.
Sure.
And here we are.
So I'm creating the new hybrid race that will dominate the planet.
Yep.
We're surrounded by cold-blooded.
All right, that's it for
See it.
7 S's.
Some premise. Fun
Shit.
Oh, that's
feedback.
funny.
We have a bunch of feedback. And the first one, and let's go to Chad with this one because I think we both got this, and maybe some of the other guys did too.
There's
kind of a general comment from Jonathan Angarola. Chad.
Jonathan says, "Hi, Jonathan here, New York-based Monster Kid. Just wanted to drop you a quick line to say I've been listening to Decades of Horror, classic and 70s for little while now. And I think you and your Grue Crew do a bang-up job of celebrating the films we know and sometimes love. Keep up the great work."
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Jonathan.
that, Jonathan.
Yep, very cool.
Check out 80s too. Maybe you're more of an older. I'm the older the movie is, the more I'm into it, kind of. But
couldn't wait to watch the 80s.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. And episode 118, Octoman. I think Bill should read this one. I don't know why, but
seemed like an Octoman kind of guy.
I don't know.
Dennis Lancaster 9999 says Kerwin Matthews would go on to star in the little scene The Boy That Cried Werewolf in 1973. He would finish his career starring in Nightmare in Blood, which was produced and directed by Creature Features host John Stanley.
Ooh.
Matthews would retire from acting and become an antique dealer in San Francisco. I met Kerwin Matthews at a fan convention in which they screened both The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and Jack the Giant Killer. He was an extremely kind and modest man and was deeply touched that people appreciate his work. He is still one of the best and most heartwarming interactions I've ever had with a celebrity, a truly wonderful man. That's so nice.
Yeah.
At the same convention, I also met Jeff Mohr, an extremely friendly and self-effacing personality, terrific sense of humor. I sat next to him during a screening of The Giant Claw. We laughed and chuckled all the way through the film. Oh, that's funny. That'd be great. Thank you.
Quickly, doubling back just a little bit, the animal that was the mongoose in the movie was actually a Tayra, Tayra, a member of the weasel family native to tropical areas of Central and South America.
And not a good pet because that voice is annoying.
The movie was originally titled Snake, but the distributors wanted it changed.
More of a mystery.
And in Spain, it was titled Silbido de Muerte, Hiss of Death.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I was looking for something else, but those were worth mentioning. All right. Because I thought, didn't I read somewhere that this was released as a double feature with The Boy Who Cried Werewolf?
It did. Yeah. I saw the images of that. Yeah.
Everything goes around, comes around. Okay, the creature from Black Lake, Daphne.
Okay. The Creature from Black Lake, Ernest Dempsey, 9441. Haven't seen it, but recently saw The Brain Machine by the same director, and I find it a relevant movie that is worth watching. My article about it is on Shanilo, later to be part of a book of movie reviews and articles.
Ooh, congratulations. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, check
I
that
haven't heard
out.
Brain Machine.
I
Sorry
hadn't
if I
either, and I
misspoke.
usually look this stuff up ahead of time, but I missed that one.
Clickety, clickety, clack. Here you go.
Clickety clack. Oh, well, heck yeah. James Best. I don't know that I remember anybody else, but several people volunteer for a scientific experiment about mind reading and memory, but the experiment goes horribly wrong.
As they do. As they do.
Directed by Joanne Houck Jr. I think that was a guy that was associated with a string of drive-ins across the South. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Here I am making stuff up again. Okay, now we go to that was episode 178. Episode 234, Scars of Dracula. Another Dennis Lancaster. Doc?
Yes, of course. Hammer film goes to me, right? Scars of Dracula, Dennis Lancaster 999 says, the difficulty in finding Scars of Dracula probably had a lot to do with the fact that it was distributed independently by a small company. In this case, American Continental Films. Scars and its double bill co-feature, Horror of Frankenstein, were not part of any larger film package and offered as a single double bill. Television stations, usually local stations, would decide whether to buy this double bill or not. This is not unlike local stations purchasing the Marion Films double bill of Monster Zero and War of the Gargantuans. These two films as well were not part of any film package other than an independent double bill. Fortunately, our local KBH 44, there's a K in there too at the end, bought both of these double bills for broadcasting. Essentially, if your station didn't buy these films, then you just didn't see them until they were absorbed when the rights of these films lapsed and they went back to other film packages.
Interesting.
Dracula. Dennis Lancaster watching the
He knows his stuff.
some of the 70s stuff, yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know what the local KBHK 44 is. Does anybody?
It's probably a New York station from the sound of it. But who knows?
Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. TV station. All right. Episode 241, The Last Dinosaur. Chad.
Dennis Lancaster, 99999. I'm sure somebody's already beat me to the punch on this. The Terror of Godzilla poster is indeed the theatrical poster for the U.S. release of Terror of Mechagodzilla. King Caesar was mistakenly placed on the poster and should have been Titanosaurus. The Terror of Godzilla posters is probably one of the worst U.S. Godzilla theatrical posters, especially when you compare to the international poster for Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Thank you. That explains it.
Yep.
Clear as
we
mud.
couldn't figure that out. I'm like going, what is this Terror of Godzilla and why is King Caesar on it if it's so? American marketing. That's we don't even know what movies we're doing or who's.
Hey, you've heard the taglines on this show.
All right. Also, The Last Dinosaur, episode 241 from Robert Baker. Bill.
I had never seen this one before, so I watched it before listening to the show. It reminds me of The Land Unknown in a lot of ways. Yeah, I agree. I didn't mind it at all. There was a lot of charm in these type movies if you go into them not expecting too much. Besides, I get a real kick out of how when a certain big budget franchise dedicated to dinosaurs, which has a new installment this summer, get criticized so much. I always wonder what people were expecting to see from movies about dinosaurs fighting each other and eating anything that gets in the way. LOL. That's right. You shouldn't be expecting, The grapes of wrath. It's dinosaurs.
It's a science teacher. So I have a question, and I don't know where I saw this. It was probably some stupid, social media post. I just can't remember where, but the claim was that the T-Rex moved very slow because if they fell down, they couldn't get up because their arms were so short.
First of all, you weren't there. You don't know.
I'm like, I've never heard that. All of the stuff I've ever seen, I've never heard that. And I'm just thinking about all that, anyway.
Help me. I'm falling. I can't get up.
Yeah.
It's all in the core strength. It's the
I
core
can't even
strength.
press that little button that will, alert the life alert people.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Oh,
All right.
geez.
Moving on to episode 242, A Cold Night's Death. From Andy L. Now, remember, I think I might have forgot to even say this on the podcast, but Andy L. had requested this about once a year, every 6 months. He goes, "Hey, Cold Night's Death is on YouTube," and I'd go, "Yeah, I know, but it sucks, the visual quality." And then we finally did it. So I actually, when we did it, I emailed him and said, "Hey, Cold Night's Death is live." So this one's from Andy L. And I forget where we at. Daphne, I think, right?
Sure. Crew. So persistence did pay off. I first wanted to say that I have seen Norless tapes a couple of times over the years, as I was a regular viewer of The Invaders, but never as memorable to me as Cold Night's Death. I believe Norless was a pilot for a not picked up series, and it kind of feels like. I'm really glad that Jeff finally broke down and added to the list. Two wonderful actors doing a great job and really fun but creepy setting. Always followed Robert Culp since I Spy was on the air, and I agree that Eli Wallach will always be Tuco, first and foremost. Tuco.
Good, the bad, yeah.
But it also appeared in a lot of excellent other roles. I've always enjoyed the dynamics of two persons playing off each other in a closed space. The My Dinner with Andre of the icy primate horror genre.
Nice. Very cool.
That's a great connection.
As someone who's earned multiple polar bear patches on campouts with my son and Boy Scouts, as well as bearing a number of extremely cold winters when I lived in Chicago, I still can really feel the cold when I watch this movie. Hopefully your review will put it on more people's to watch list who previously didn't know about it, like Gregory, and maybe one day it will get a proper release. Definitely one of my favorite made-for-TV movies from the 70s. I'm really glad that everyone enjoyed it. Definitely helped make my day. Thanks again, Andy L.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm glad we went ahead and did it too. I'm still crushed that it isn't available on Blu-ray. But also on A Cold Night's Death, Doc, Retro Game Man Dan 79.
Wow.
Okay, this is a long one, guys. Sit down. The setting and mood of paranoia and fear reminded me of The Thing. I wonder if Carpenter watched this and got some ideas.
I think you said that, Chad, didn't you?
Yeah, I feel it had a pretty big Carpenter vibe at the very beginning, with all the paranoia and the isolation and everything. It might have been, who knows? It could have been. Carpenter would never admit it, though.
No.
And just because you're paranoid doesn't mean somebody's not out to get you.
It's true.
And I think that was Doc. Chad, James Harris, IO9NN.
James says, I'm up for any movie with Eli Wallach. He's one of the best actors ever, in my opinion. I haven't seen A Cold Night's Death, but I'll be checking it out. Cool. I'm excited for Sssssss. It's such a freaky movie. Struther is fantastic. Great show as usual. Thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yay.
James.
That's how you do it. You go.
And you can also say
7
Harris.
That's our feedback for tonight. I should have known we're doing this movie we wanted to do for a long time, and there's 5 of us, and we had a lot of feedback. So fairly long episode. Appreciate it. Thanks to everybody that wrote in: Jonathan Angarola, Dennis Lancaster, Ernest Dempsey, Robert Baker, Andy L., Retro Game Man Dan, and James Harris. We appreciate you. Everybody else, please send feedback. You can actually make comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel, or you can send an email to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com, or check us out at our Facebook page.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, we love feedback. We also have a Patreon channel, and for a few dollars a month, you can get the Decades of Horror early. So normally we record about 2 weeks before it goes live to cover for, changes in people's schedules and make sure we get them all out on time every time. And when we do that, you'll get the episode. Patreon members will get the episode 1, sometimes 2 days after it's recorded, instead of having to wait the 12 days to 2 weeks. So, and you can also get our 20 episode, whatever you call it, dive into Kolchak.
Oh.
Yes.
Into Kolchak. And we're actually, I don't know if we're going to or not, but we've been talking about doing another series from them.
You count me out. I only know the first Night Stalker. I don't know about any other Night Stalkers after that.
Well, there's
it might have the word night in it, but
other TV shows. All right. Well, we do a new episode every 2 weeks, just like we also do for Classic Era and Decades for the 1980s. This time, it's Chad's pick. Chad, what do we
From
doing?
the glorious decade of 5-year-old Chad, 1971, comes the film Willard.
Now, this will be a double tap, but there'll only be half. It was episode 53 with me and Doc and Santos. I think it was like my 10th episode or something like that. 8 years ago.
all those.
So we will see. Doc and I will probably have new stuff to say, but
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worthy of a second view. It's and discussion because Ernest Mohr died. Just
and of course, Bruce Davison, Ernest Dagnine, Elsa Lancaster, and
that's right.
There was a fourth one I was going to name, but I don't. Oh, Sandra Locke. Yeah. So quite the cast, and quite
Willard and Ben.
Sandra Locke, Clint Eastwood, right?
All right. Well, thanks to all the Grue believers for sticking with us and for sending in feedback. Everybody out there that hasn't sent in feedback, come on, give us a comment.
Thanks to the Patreons for making this possible.
Yes.
Because it was amazing.
And we've been wanting to do this for like 8 years.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It just never shows up.
Almost since day one. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Doc. Great to have you back.
Yes.
Yes.
And Chad and Bill and Daphne, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me be here. It was great.
Join us more often.
Always invited. Say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.